Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Steve McCrawley coming to you with another video. Today some more VGC 17 battles on the battle spot. Still using this team that I've been using for past week, I guess technically 2 weeks now. But not going to go over it too much. We've already done a few uploads and stuff. So you have to go mainly just watch the first one where I explain a little bit more. And this is probably going to be the last battle I have with the team. I've been working on a new team the past few days. So this will probably be the last I do with this team. So, not going to say too much. We're just going to go ahead and get into it. My first opponent had a team of Arcanine, Nihilego, Tapu Koko, Alolan Muck, Garchomp, and Porygon 2. So very standard team, to be honest. No surprises here or anything. Except for maybe the Nihilego. But pretty standard team. Nothing too special here. So I want to bring my Nihilego here, since he doesn't have... Outside of the Garchomp, he doesn't really have a way to hit me, so that's why I lead with the Feeny in case he also leads with his Garchomp. And I feel like the Trick Room here would be pretty good. He has Porygon 2. I found it interesting that he had Porygon 2, but no Trick Room Pokemon. Something like a Torkoal or an Araquanid. At least one Pokemon to go with it. So maybe it was like a Z Crystal one or something. I don't really know. I'm gonna bring my two Trick Room Pokemon here, Buzzwole and Alolan Marowak. They did really well against his team, so it's a pretty decent matchup here. So we're gonna go ahead and get straight into it. And right off the bat, I lead Nihilego, Tapu Fini. I feel like it's a pretty strong lead, and my opponent is gonna lead Arcanine, Nihilego. So. Here I realize this is the first time I think I've ever faced off against another Nihilego. Definitely Nihilego versus Nihilego. It's got to be the first. So what's important to note is my Feeny gets off the terrain before his Intimidate goes off, so that means I am going to be faster. And straight off the bat, he's going to switch out and go into his Muck. So, I mean, I had a good advantage here. The Muddy Water is going to be super effective against both of his Pokemon. So we ended up going for the Sludge Bomb. I'm going to survive that. I do go for the Muddy Water. Muck avoids, but that's fine. But Nihilego also avoids, and that is not good. I was considering going for the Scald there into the Arcanine just to guarantee the knockout. But really unfortunate that it missed the Nihilego more than anything. But I think that's the first time I've ever missed both Pokemon with Muddy Water. And right off the bat, I switch it into my... Buzzwole. I was thinking he would go for a knockoff. So, and here I can't really switch anything in since I didn't bring my Celesteela. So I'm like, I'll just let Feeny go down. Maybe he'll think that I protect. I do get the accuracy drop, so I'm like, oh, maybe he'll miss his, but no, he connects. So, Coco goes down, or excuse me, Tapu Fini goes down really early. Unfortunate, but that's Pokemon for you. I'm still in a good spot here. I'm not too upset at all. So I bring back in my Nihilego. I don't want to bring in Marowak yet since I can't really do much here. And he's going to have switching out his Nihilego and go into Arcanine. Which is good. I mean, it's going to get the Intimidate onto my Buzzwole. Which is going to... I mean, it's going to go a long way, I suppose. I protect here with Nihilego. I was thinking he'd go for the knockoff into that slot. And he actually goes for the Poison Jab into the Buzzwole, which I'm okay with. Buzzwole's pretty good on the physically defensive. And I go for the Hammer Arm. I do get the crit. It almost picks up the knockout, which is insane. Buzzwole is really strong. We are going to see it is going to be holding a berry, so it's going to bring him to just above 50%. So another one should not knock him out since I am at -1. And Arcanine's going to protect here, which is fine. Here I go for my Z move. I wasn't sure if it would pick up the knockout onto Muck. I was hoping it would. If not, I was hoping that it would get off a lot of damage at least. Because he didn't... I could tell he didn't bring Porygon 2. I don't know if we've seen all of his Pokemon up to this point. But I was like, he's not going to have Porygon 2. And even if he does, I should still be able to two-shot it with Hammer Arm. So I'm hoping that this picks up the knockout onto Muck. And it went down really slow. I thought I was going to survive, but it does go down. So that's a big knockout for me. I do get the Beast Boost. That's just going to put me back to +0 or -0, however you want to look at it. And Power Gem goes into the Protect. So a really good term there for me. We do see that his last Pokemon is going to be Tapu Koko. So it was a good option for me to use my Z move there. Probably the best Pokemon to use it on. So he's going to switch out his Arcanine here, and he's going to go back out into Nihilego. At this point, he's just waiting for a Trick Room to end, because this is the last turn. So he's going to protect Tapu Koko. That's kind of what I was predicting there. But I was like, I'll just go for the safe Poison Jab, just in case. And I do go for the Power Gem. And this guy do, I mean, I'd say quite a bit of damage. But he is going to survive with just a little bit of health. So I'm going to switch out. I'm going to go into my Marowak. I'm thinking, okay, his Tapu Koko is either going to go for a Thunderbolt or for a Dazzling Gleam. And if he goes for either of those, or if he goes for Dazzling Gleam, Nihilego is going to resist and survive. And if he goes for Thunderbolt, I bring in Marowak and I get Trick Room up, and that basically guarantees the win. So he did double up into Nihilego as I predicted, but Lightning Rod coming in clutch. I'm going to be able to get the Trick Room up again. And my opponent's basically going to forfeit from there. I don't think it was necessarily over. I mean, that was a huge Trick Room for me. But I don't know if it was necessarily over for him. Maybe he thought that he couldn't win because I had Marowak. I mean, Marowak counters like 99% of all Tapu Kokos. I mean, even the ones that carry something like Skydrop. It's still, I believe Skydrop is a fighting type, but I could be wrong. But Marowak resists Fairy with Lightning Rod. He's immune to Electric, so a very good Pokemon to have. So I feel I played that one. Let's see. I don't know if I would have changed anything that I did. He did. For him, I think he could have played his Pokemon better. I don't think the Pokemon he brought were necessarily the best. I think Garchomp would have been a lot better for him, but I guess he was kind of thinking that I would bring Celesteela. That's why he brought Tapu Koko. That's the reason why, and Arcanine, but Celesteela not necessarily, or not needed there, not needed to win, but I felt the Trick Room Nihilego is really strong. I really like it. Build it a little bit bulkier. It's got good stabs. It's got really good coverage with all the fairies running around, with all the Arcanines running around. It's got really good coverage. So putting in the work there, doing the damage, and then Buzzwole picking up the knockouts, putting in the huge damage. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our second battle here. My opponent had a team of Kartana, Gyarados, Slowking, Alolan Marowak, Hariyama, and Tapu Koko. So a slightly different team from what we're used to seeing. With the Hariyama, you don't see too much. It's usually seen with Trick Room, which is what this is going to be. The Slowking's probably going to be the Trick Room user. And then the Tapu Koko, pretty standard. The Gyarados is not so standard. Most likely going to be a Z-move. It's the only Z-move option he has, really. So I want here, I don't really know what to bring. I want to bring my Celesteela. He does have Tapu Koko and Alolan Marowak, but Celesteela is really good against his Kartana, against his two water types. And then I decided to lead with my Summons as well for the Intimidate, since he's probably going to lead Gyarados or Kartana or even Marowak. Just those Intimidates are on those physical users are going to be clutch. And then Alolan Marowak's going to be good here to help deal with the Kartana, with the Tapu Koko, and possibly with the Slowking. And Buzzwole, since he's probably going to be setting up Trick Room, I decided to bring Buzzwole. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this battle. And I lead Celesteela Salamence. I feel like it's a pretty strong lead. It's going to help Celesteela survive for quite some time. He's going to lead Kartana Gyarados. So I'm really happy with this lead. The only thing you have to be careful of is an Ice Fang from the Gyarados, but Celesteela is untouchable here. Kartana might be able to get off a Sacred Sword for neutral, might be able to get off a Smart Strike onto Salamence, but he's at -1, so I'm very pleased with this. So he's actually going to end up switching Kartana right off the bat into Slowking. And I protect here with Salamence. I want to scout to see if he does have an Ice Fang on the Gyarados, and sure enough, we do see the Ice Fang, so I'm very happy that I protected. I was thinking about going for the Dragon Dance, but I was like, there's no way I can risk it. I just go for the Leech Seed on Gyarados, since I figure it's going to have quite a bit of HP, but I also want to whittle it down slowly. So chances are the Slowking is also going to have Ice Beam, so I can't say, oh, maybe I'll survive a -1 Ice Fang. I go in the Buzzwole here. I don't really have a good taunt or a good switch in, and Gyarados is actually going to be holding taunt, so he's going to taunt me. So I'm not going to be able to set up Leech Seed on the Slowking. And the Ice Beam did come out, so Buzzwole's going to eat that up pretty well. And we're going to sap up a little bit of HP from the Gyarados. Gyarados is taking a decent amount of damage. Unfortunately, I don't have any electric type moves to be able to one-shot him. And he's going to end up switching out into his Marowak, which is a good switch in here. Pretty much can resist everything I have for him. I went for the Heavy Slam just to get the little bit of chip damage off, just because I want to get rid of Gyarados as soon as possible. And also the Poison Jab, since I don't really have anything to hit the... or like I said, I just wanted to try and pick up a knockout there on the Gyarados. So we're going to see Psyshock, which is better than Psychic, since that's going to hit me on the physical side. But it's still going to do a lot of damage. So with the Pokemon we've seen, Buzzwole is not really that good here. The Z-move's not going to... or against maybe the Kartana, but that's about it. And so I spring back in my Salamence to get the Intimidate off. And then I also switch out my Buzzwole into Marowak, thinking he'd go for a Fire-type move into that slot, but he ends up switching out his Marowak too, and he's going to go back into the Gyarados. I'm like, oh, that's absolutely perfect. My two physical attackers are going to be intimidated now. So, pretty big right there, and he ends up setting up Trick Room, so I was really surprised that he switched out, considering Marowak is a lot stronger in Trick Room than Gyarados. But I'm going to taking out my Salamence. It's way too dangerous around here. I'm going to bring in Celesteela, who I feel like has a pretty good matchup against these two Pokemon in particular. And I protect with the Marowak, thinking he's going to like probably Ice Beam. And here he might Z-move. It's not going to be Z-Bounce because it's not shiny. But sure enough, we do see the Hydro Vortex coming through. So most likely a Z-Waterfall. So... I was thinking here maybe he'd go into the Salamence slot, but it didn't really make much sense. I don't think it was really necessary to go for the Hydro Vortex here. I guess you could argue he didn't really have like a better target to use it on, but I feel like a Waterfall would have been enough anyways. So it's going to do just under 50%, and so his Z-move's gone, and we're kind of back to where we started. So he's going to switch out Slowking, and he's going to bring in Kartana. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. I mean, you set up Trick Room. Your Pokemon are faster than mine. And I'm going to bring in my Salamence. I wanted the Intimidate on Gyarados, but I also get one on the Kartana, which is really nice. And I went for Leech Seed. He predicted me going for the Leech Seed into Slowking. So my greed kind of coming back to bite me. But the Waterfall is not very effective, and he's at -1, so I'm going to eat that up very nicely. So Celesteela's basically back up at full health. And he's going to switch out Kartana, since it's he was predicting the Leech Seed there. He's going to come into Marowak. I protect, thinking he's probably going to go for the Ice Fang there again. And I go for the Leech Seed into the Gyarados. I just want to Leech Seed something. I want to sap away some health every turn. I want to be able to take hits and pretty much heal it all back up. So Ice Fang does go into the Salamence slot. So I do get a successful Leech Seed off. I don't, because Celesteela's probably like -2 or -3 attack at this point. And Marowak is out on the field, so that does concern me a little bit. I do switch out. I go on the Buzzwole. Buzzwole's not really going to be doing much here. So I was like, maybe I'll survive, and I'll be able to get some leftovers, or excuse me, some Leech Seed recovery, possibly. And just things aren't looking too good for me. He ends up going for the Shadow Bone. He's maybe thinking that I'd switch Marowak into that slot. And the Taunt does come out, so most likely also into the Celesteela slot, so I couldn't set up any more Leech Seeds. And I bring Salamence back, and I want to get the Intimidate up. Put off some pressure. I do still have my Z move. Z Fly will do a lot of damage, especially since if I'm not intimidated, it'll do. Might be able to one-shot just about anything on his team except for the Slowking. So he's gonna bring in the Kartana here and protect with the Marowak. So I didn't know exactly what I was going to do here. My opponent's been pretty unpredictable. I was hoping to pick up the knockout onto Gyarados there with the Z Fly, since Gyarados is like the biggest threat, since it's water, which is good against my Marowak, but also because of the Intimidate. This Intimidate's really been hurting me. So I wanted to pick up the knockout, but it is going to go into the Kartana, but it's still going to do a lot of damage. I can't be disappointed in that damage at all. Almost picks up the one-hit knockout. And the Flare Blitz does go into the Protect. So I was thinking that he'd switch in Kartana into that slot, since he was thinking maybe I'd go for the Shadow Bone. But so Kartana's going to go for the Night Slash. So here I'm thinking, okay, it probably doesn't even have Protect. Might be like an Assault Vest one. And I do go for the Earthquake, since it's probably going to pick up the knockout on Kartana and it's going to do damage to Marowak. I was really surprised I was only like 50%. I was thinking to do a lot more than that. But I guess it's not stab. I guess it is a spread move. I was really underwhelmed by that damage. I was really banking on that to pick up the knockout, to be quite honest. But, well, maybe not to pick up the knockout, but do more than that, to where maybe like a heavy slam at this point would be able to pick up the knockout. But he's going to go... Shadow Bone does pick up the defense drop, not really that big of a deal, and Slowking's going to come back in. So, definitely a slow-paced, high-switch game. So I bring in my Marowak, thinking he's probably going to go for the Ice Beam there. He does switch out Marowak into his Gyarados, which isn't much of a surprise. So the Intimidate's going to go off. It's pretty big on both these Pokemon. And I do go for the Leech Seed, but Slowking avoids, which is pretty... I mean, I'd say it's pretty important. One person, or I don't know if you necessarily think it's that important, but I mean... one turn of Leech Seed recovery isn't what it's all about, but it's more doing damage to him, and then now he can stay in if he wants. And but it's just like one turn less, where it doesn't necessarily force him to switch out or take more damage. So I go for the Leech Seed into Gyarados. I was thinking maybe the Slowking would protect, but he goes for Ice Beam into Celesteela, maybe thinking that... or I mean, that's kind of his best move to go for anyways, but also probably covering the base of me switching in the Salamence to pick up the Intimidate. So after Leech Seed and Leftovers, I'm pretty much going to be back up at full health. And here I'm like, I'll just let... okay, well, I was debating whether or not I wanted... because I was thinking maybe he'll predict the Salamence come in and go for the Ice Fang. My opponent's been really good about his predictions and stuff, to where he's always been having me guess. I can't say, oh, he always predicts. He doesn't always predict. So he does pick up the knockout, and I see the Heal Pulse from the Slowking. I'm like, oh boy, that could be a problem. That's a game changer right there. Because I was hoping to slowly whittle down this Gyarados and bring in my Salamence and then go for a Fly and pick up the knockout. But that puts him back up to full health. So that's a pretty nice tech move. I mean, it works on his team since I don't have any electric type Pokemon. But I can't complain. I mean, it's part of his team, so Salamence comes back in, really low health. If I switched in to the Waterfall, I would have survived. It would have been nice. I go for Fly here, since I don't want to stick around. Going to be a nice way to avoid the damage he's going to put out. So he does miss. I go for Heavy Slam. I make a mistake here. Because I'm like, oh, I'm going to hopefully Fly can crit or something and pick up the knockout on Gyarados. But I should have gone for the Fly, or excuse me, for the Fly and the Heavy Slam into Slowking, because he's the one with the Heal Pulse. So unless if I pick up some miracle damage and like do like 70 or 80% of the damage to Gyarados in one turn, it's not going down. I needed to focus down the Slowking so it can't Heal Pulse anymore. So luckily he did set up the Trick Room, so that's perfect for me, because that means that Salamence is going to avoid another turn of damage. And Heal Pulse is just going to heal him back up to full health. So again, I do go for the Heavy Slam into Gyarados, and here I'm realizing, wait, I should be attacking the Slowking, not the Gyarados. So Waterfall is going to come through. You're going to see it does very little damage, and Gyarados ends up missing, or avoiding anyways. So, I mean, more than anything, the Fly was just to avoid damage so I wouldn't have to protect. So, Soul King's slowly getting whittled down, which is good. It would have been nice to have that heavy slam and the fly go into that slot. He'd probably be at like 25-30% health right now. But Celesteela is in a good spot against these two Pokemon. He does have Alolan Marowak in the back, which is a huge problem. So this one's been slow. It's slowly getting less and less likely that I'm going to win this one. I protect with Salamence and go for the heavy slam. Here we go into the Slowking. Does very little damage, and then the waterfall. So he ends up predicting my protect. So he goes for the double target into Celesteela. So unfortunately, like if I went for fly there, that would have been pretty big. I mean, obviously he could have switched out. I don't even know if he has protect on his Slowking, but it still would have been nice to avoid the damage and possibly get a fly off onto the Slowking. That would have been pretty big because his heal pulse would be gone. But you see, Celesteela pretty much heals back everything. So if it was like a 2v1, Celesteela would probably win. But here he's pretty much free to go for the Ice Beam and picks up the knockout onto Salamence. I guess I probably should have just gone for the double protect. My opponent's been playing really well, so that's kind of what I needed. But heavy slam, slowly whittling away. I mean, if I hit this thing with like one more heavy slam, or with if the fly connected and hit him, or even an earthquake, he'd probably be going down this turn after this leech seed damage. Because right now, another heavy slam leech seed will do the trick. And I'm at full health, so I mean, and if this was a 2v1, it'd be over. I mean, there's obviously the chance of the freeze always, but I just protect and then attack, protect, attack, protect, attack. So here, my opponent's going to end up switching out his Gyarados into the Marowak. This is a really good play on his part. He's pretty much just going to heal pulse him back up. So, because what I was hoping to do was wait for Trick Room to end and then like hopefully heavy slam him and knock him out, or maybe even leech seed him. But so you see, if I would have hit him with, remember how I missed the leech seed that one turn? If I would have leech seeded, if it would have connected, that might have been enough to pick up the knockout earlier to where he couldn't have done this and picked up the knockout on Salamence. Or if fly connect, or like if I would have attacked him sooner with that, like because I can't really blame RNG, but because if I would have attacked the Slowking sooner, then I would have knocked him out sooner, and he wouldn't have been able to do all this. Or if my opponent, that turn that I protected Salamence, and my opponent double targeted Celesteela, if I would have used Fly, heck, if I would have even used Earthquake, that would have been a game changer as well. Because I needed Salamence around to be able to take care of the Marowak. And if because in a, like I said, in a 1 or even in a 2v1, Celesteela would have taken care of the Slowking and the Gyarados. The problem the whole time was the Marowak that was sitting in the back. So if I made a mistake there, I should have realized that I needed to attack the Heal Pulse user, not the Heal Pulse recipient. Now, if I was doing like 60, 70, 80% damage to Gyarados a turn, then yeah, I could have kept on attacking Gyarados. But it was kind of useless attacking the recipient of the Heal Pulse. So my opponent played that one really well anyways. I'm not upset about that. I learned a few things there. Nice seeing that tech move. I just feel like the Pokemon I brought weren't really that good. I mean, I guess I'm kind of glad I didn't bring Nicolego since he had 2 water-type Pokemon. Like I said, this team kind of struggles against water teams in general, since I don't have resistances, since I don't have any super effective moves to hit him with. So, can't be too upset, but I definitely could have played that one better and ended up winning. It's just Buzzwole didn't really do anything there. Nicolego couldn't have really done anything. So, just something like, definitely one of the flaws of this team in general, but it was a lot of fun using this one. Worlds really inspired me to kind of take all these ideas and try and put them into one team. Don't know how well it worked, but it was still fun. There were a lot of things I want to try. There's still quite a few things I want to try. Luckily, we still got a few months before Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon come out, and even when they do come out, I can still try them in VGC 18. So that's pretty much going to be it. If you guys got any suggestions for me, feel free to let me know. any suggestions for a new team or whatever, feel free to let me know. But it was a blast using this team and everything, but this is going to be the last one. I've been working on a new team already, getting ready to start battling with it maybe tomorrow or whatever, but that's pretty much it. That's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.